Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 109. I hope that you are all well and that you've had a lovely weekend. I have had the most delightful weekend for a long time. On Friday, I spent the day with my best friend and his kids, and we went to this show and we looked at all the animals and the tractors, and I lived my best farm girl life. I think I was possibly the only person there who was not wearing like a tweed gilet, but it was such a nice day. And then yesterday, I ticked off one of the big things that was on my vision board for a while now, which was public speaking, talking in person to an audience about what I love, because the girls at Soul Season events, Sarah and Sophie, very kindly invited me to be their guest speaker at the first event, which was in Liverpool. And it was such a beautiful day. Like, I absolutely loved it. The room was beautiful. The people was beautiful. The vibe was immaculate. We had Reiki. We had yoga. We had snacks. We had speakers. It was just so nice. Like little stalls. I came home with bags full of stuff from the stalls. I'm the new proud owner of a shampoo and conditioner bar, which I have never heard of until last week. And I was like, oh, I want to get one of them. And then, lo and behold, I go to the event and they were selling them there. So, yeah, I did that yesterday and it was so nice, honestly. I was absolutely buzzing about it when I got home. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't nervous until I got up there. And then I was like, oh, I was shitting myself. But it was so good and I really, really enjoyed it and everybody was absolutely lovely. So shout out to Sarah and Sophie for having me because it was the most incredible day. So yesterday, I talked about something which I have talked about in a previous podcast, but I sort of redid it because it was one of my favourite episodes. If you've not listened to it, I think it was episode 35, so way back when. And it was about romanticising your life. So I'm going to do kind of an updated episode based on what I talked about yesterday. As you know by now, I teach manifestation using law of assumption. And I use 4 main steps. The first one is to create a crystal clear vision. The second one is to identify who that woman who already has what you desire is. That's the identity part. The third part is embodiment, which is living as that version now. And the fourth part is that circumstances don't matter and persisting in the vision and staying faithful to that vision. So I picked out a section from that, which was the embodiment section, and I zoned in on a way that you can embody that identity of the woman who has what you already have, or the man, or anything in between. And that's what I talked about. So I'm going to share that with you today, what I talked about yesterday. So first of all, I am going to ask you to think about these 4 different scenarios that I'm going to present you with. So feel free to close your eyes. It's just a quick little visualization. And I've chosen ones that I think we can all relate to on some level. So the first one that I want you to think about is that feeling when you've had a bit of a pamper night. So you've just had a bubble bath, and if you're anything like me, it's nearly boiled you alive because it has to be bordering on uncomfortably hot to satisfy you. You've shaved, you've olaplexed your hair, you've exfoliated, you've moisturised, you are smoother than a dolphin, and you put on that nice new set of pyjamas and get into the freshly changed sheets and have the best sleep ever. So just sit in that moment for a second where you're sitting in the bath and you're just enjoying the glass of wine and a bit of Gabrielle's on in the background and you're just living your best pampered life. So when you've done that one, I now want you to picture a time where you have just cleaned your house from top to bottom, like you've given it a really good clean. Everything smells like Mrs. Hinch has been round. You've refilled the plug-ins. The blankets have just come out of the washing machine and they're all fluffy and they smell like Lenore. And you finally sit down on the couch and put the lamps on and you light the new scented candle that you have been saving, and you pick up your book and you just enjoy your own company and be there in that moment. So the third one that I want you to think about is a time, probably my favourite one, this one, where you have woken up on holiday. It doesn't matter where you are, but somewhere sunny. And you've woken up, you've probably got a slight hangover because you've just made full use of the all-inclusive drinks. the sun is shining, you go downstairs in your cosy and your sarong, and you go to that all-inclusive breakfast on holiday, even if you don't normally eat breakfast at home and you're normally a cup of coffee kind of gal like me, and you get the bowl of yoghurt with the fruit, and then you go back and you get the omelette, and then you go back again, and you get the French toast and the maple syrup, and you sit down at that table with the white tablecloth on it, and then a waiter brings you over a mimosa at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you just living your fucking best life, knowing that you are going to have a beautiful day, relaxing in the sun and having fun. And the final one is, I want you to think about a time where you've had a barbecue. So it doesn't have to be your barbecue, it could be somebody else's, but one of those barbecues where you're really looking forward to it, not one of those where you're being dragged on a Sunday and it's somebody you barely know. It's one of those where you're with your best friends and you sat outside in the garden and everyone feels comfortable. You've been there since the afternoon, you're all slightly wine drunk, and you've been laughing for so long that it's gone dark. And now you're all sat together just under the stars. Maybe you've got a little fire pit going and you're just soaking in that vibe of being surrounded by people that you love and being in that moment. So, all of the feelings that you felt while you were thinking about those, that is the feeling of romance. And we associate the word romance with relationships. We think that we can only have romance if we are not single, if we're in love with somebody, but that is not the case. That can be a big part of it in the beginning before they start pissing you off, but we can also experience that romance with our family, we can have it with our friends, we can have it with strangers, and most importantly, we can have it on our own. So romance is a mixture of different feelings. It's a feeling of gratitude, it's a feeling of love, it's a feeling of connection. And those moments of romance are the ones where we realise just how fucking good it is to be alive, just to be here on earth and be in this present moment and experience that present moment fully. And with some very careful curation, you can incorporate that feeling of romance every single day into your normal life. Just to have a fucking mimosa on a Tuesday, babe. There's no rules. So we spend a lot of time, a lot of our life actually, waiting for the when. So we wait for when we've got the house, or when we've met the partner of our dreams, or when we've bought the new car, or when we've lost weight, or when we've made that certain amount of money. But actually, the parts of the woman who is in your dream life vision that you're lusting after it's nothing to do with the actual manifestations that she has received. It's not to do with the house or the car or the partner or the weight. It's who she is. And that's a really big realization that I've come to recently, is when you get your manifestation, because you've normalized it already, which is what's allowed it to come in, you don't really think, you don't have that moment of being like, whoa, like I've got it. Like obviously for certain goals you have that little moment of excitement, but what you actually end up being grateful for and excited about is that you've become her. That's the part that really is going to get you lit up. And for the most part, you could actually be doing a lot of the things that she does in that vision right now before you've received the physical manifestation of what it is that you desire. So let's say when you're waiting for a house, you sat there thinking, oh, when I get my new house, think about that version of yourself who owns that dream house. Is she staring at the paperwork that says that she owns the home? Is she just sat there looking at it and thinking, look, I own this home, I've got the deeds for this home? Or is she enjoying the spaces that she has by, for example, hosting the barbecue and drinking wine in the garden with her friends? Or if she doesn't have a garden, is she sitting there having a party with her friends in the house? What is she doing right now? Because I can guarantee you that a lot of the things that you are waiting to experience until you've got the house, you could be doing right now, and doing that is what is going to bring it in. So is she spending all day, the woman who, let's say, is manifesting money or waiting for a certain amount of money, let's say it's 100 grand, is she, in your vision, spending all day just sat there checking her internet banking and looking at the 100 grand in her account? Because life's not different if you're doing that. You're just looking at the account. Or is she going out? Is she having her nails done? Is she buying a bougie coffee in a fancy cup and enjoying her freedom while she reads a book in the coffee shop? You could do that right now. There is nothing stopping you from having a slightly more expensive coffee, from sitting in the coffee shop, from reading a book, from doing the things that she does, knowing that she is wealthy. So the person who is waiting for a new car, is she sitting on a deck chair on the drive, just looking at the expensive car that she's bought? Or is she actually driving along in it, singing at full volume, windows down, smiling at all the fit blokes in the traffic jam? Do what she does now. You can do that in your own car. Is she having it valeted? Go and have your car valeted. It doesn't matter that it's not the dream car. It's what is she doing in that dream car that you can do now to get closer to her, because you've already got the capacity to live at least 75% of the life that she has got right now. But we don't do that because we're conditioned into this idea of have, do, be, that we have to have the big home and host the barbecue, and then you're allowed to be that version of you. That's actually the opposite of how to manifest. That is 3D creation. It's creating on this very limited plane where we experience time and space between us and what we desire. And we don't need to do that. We can create in the 5D. We can switch over to be, do, have, where we become that woman now. We do that thing now, and then we have that manifestation as a result. That's 5D creation. It's not difficult. You're not forcing. You're not manipulating. You're not waiting for ridiculously long times. You're not putting space between it. You're creating it in your imagination. You're acting as if it's already done. And as a result, you're receiving the manifestation, which again, like I say, won't have the same impact that you think it will, because you'll already be that woman. So there is no need or no desperate need to have the actual physical manifestation come in. So switching over to 5D manifestation, where you're being, doing, having, is the much more efficient version. So what if you decided to be her now? What if you decided to host the barbecue with the friends in the small home, in the small garden, drinking wine in the 6-foot square backyard that you might have, and then as a result end up having the big fancy home, which you can then do again? And somebody who was famous for this was Marilyn Monroe. In 3D life, she was just a normal woman. She was Norma Jean. But when she stepped into the energy of Marilyn Monroe, she experienced a different reality. She would show her friends how quickly the shift could happen. So 1 minute she'd be walking down the street completely anonymous, nobody noticing her. And then just by switching in her imagination into that main character energy of being Marilyn Monroe, suddenly people would stop her in the street and stare at how beautiful she was and be attracted to her, because she become magnetic. And that wasn't by even changing her hair or her clothes. It was just simply by changing her energy. So that's all it is. It's just energy. It's the vibration that you're sending out into the field and the lens that you are choosing to view your reality through. So the best way to begin manifesting anything you desire, I think, and the most fun, is by romanticizing your life. And that is the part of the concept that I teach called embodiment. It's stepping into character as your vision version in order to bring in that life that you desire. It's be, do, have. So, for example, yesterday, I went on stage and I spoke in front of an audience, and was it perfect? Absolutely fucking not. It was nowhere near perfect. I was nervous. I didn't really feel like I was ready to do it. But if I want to be the version of me that's in my vision who speaks on stages around the world, I have to first be her now, even though I might not feel ready, even though I might not have any proof that I'm capable of doing that or any experience doing it. You have to do it now, because that's what's going to create the vision. It's going to allow you to become that version who, or for me, who speaks on stages all around the world. So in a minute, I'm going to share with you my top 10 practical ways to romanticize your life. But first of all, I need to share this with you. All that romanticizing your life requires is for you to be present. and to enjoy the moment that you are in. Be in the moment. And the best way to connect to the present moment is by making the most of your senses. The more that you stop and you notice what you can see, hear, feel, taste, and smell, and you give it a positive meaning, the more present you are in this romantic moment. We spend so much time just rushing through our lives, and I know I always talk to you about staying in the vision, but there's actually a lot of your vision that could be happening in the 3D right now if you noticed it. But we're thinking, we're going through Mackie's drive-through getting a coffee and thinking, right, I need to send those emails. We're never sitting down and enjoying the coffee. We're always doing something else. We're always thinking about something else. And we're not noticing that there's so many beautiful moments happening all the time if we just took the time to notice them and to actually enjoy them. So I want you to think of two of these romantic scenes in very famous films. So the first one is The Notebook, and the second one is Titanic. What a couple of bangers. If for any reason you have not seen those films, what are you doing? Go and watch them immediately. So the main characters in there are Ali and Noah, so that's in The Notebook. And then we've got Rose and Jack, who are in the Titanic. And I want you to think of the scene where Ali is running into the sea and she's just living her best life. She's jumping over the waves. She's got her arms in the air. She's pretending to be a bird and she's feeling completely free. And then I want you to think of the scene in Titanic with Rose when she is going to the party, which is in like the third class underneath the boat. Well, you know, the bottom level of the boat. And she is just singing and dancing, and then she does that little trick where she stands on her toes and she's swigging pints and she's holding her fancy dress up, and she's just having so much fun listening to this music and just living her life. And both of these women come from wealthy homes in the films. They come from places where they have money and they have the fancy house and they've got the fancy cars, but what they're experiencing in these romantic scenes is freedom and joy and fun and love and connection and gratitude for the present moment. So it's not actually the house or the car or the money that's bringing them the joy. It's the being present and having fun in the moment and making the most of something that actually doesn't cost a lot or anything at all. Now, obviously, I am aware that there are two men in there, which is Noah and Jack, and they're a big part of the story. But I just want you to, for a second, take your attention off the idea that in order for something to be romantic, there has to be two people falling in love, because that is not the case. Obviously, that can be a really big part of it, but it doesn't mean that romance is exclusive to that, because let's not forget, Ali fucked off and married another man. She didn't marry Noah, and Rose just let that motherfucker slide into the Atlantic Ocean at the first sign of a lifeboat. So really put your attention on the women in this one. And it doesn't mean it's specifically about women. It's just on the individual, on the person that it's happening to. So let me share with you my top 10 hacks for romanticising your life. And if you want some more of these, go back to episode 35, I think it is. It is called Romanticising Your Life. So go back and have a listen to that, because I've got some different ones in there. But the first one that I want to bring your attention to is music. If you watch any of these kind of romantic films, but particularly those scenes that I just mentioned, and let's say that music in the background was replaced with a different track. Let's say it was Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. It would have a whole different vibe. Any other song as well. You could choose any random song and put it with those scenes, those romantic scenes where Ali is spinning around in the sea and jumping over the waves, or Rose is dancing downstairs and drinking beer and doing a little party trick. If you replace the music for something with a different vibe, the whole scene is different. The feeling of it is different. Music is what makes a good film, especially like a rom-com. So one of my favourite things to do is to curate a playlist for the movie of my life. people really underestimate music as a tool for manifestation, and I love it. If you create a vision and you pair that with a particular song or a particular type of song, that does something in your subconscious to link the two, so that when you hear that music again, you will automatically be taken back to that vision. It's such a good tool. So I've got a suggestion for you to get started with this. If you look up a playlist called Nancy Myers, you'll find a ready-made playlist full of songs that you will recognise from some of your favourite romantic films, because I think she's a director or something, I don't know, maybe she's something to do with the music, but she's the woman who makes a lot of the films that are very well known for being romantic films. So you'll find a ready-made playlist there for you. Cooking a stir fry in silence has got a totally different feel than cooking a stir fry and dancing with the wok and singing into the spatula while you're listening to Aretha Franklin. So make the most of music. So the second one that I've got for you is starting your morning slowly. This is something that I recommend to most of my one-to-one clients, is to give themselves some time in the morning to start the day differently. However you start your day is what you're going to experience for the rest of the day. So if you get up rushed and stressed and feeling like panicked, you're going to experience more of that. If you wake up early and you start your morning slowly and you cultivate that feeling of calmness, you're going to really have a lovely, peaceful, calm, enjoyable day. The only thing I will say about that is don't make the mistake of waking up an hour early to get ahead of your to-do list. That's not the purpose of that at all. You don't want to be getting up and thinking, right, I'm going to make a start on my emails, or right, I'm going to do a couple of loads of washing, or I'm going to go and tidy the house now before the kids wake up. If you are committing to waking up a little bit early, if that's what you've got to do, if you're going to work or whatever it is, then you need to use that time effectively, and the most effective use of that time is to use it on yourself. It's to use it to meditate, to journal, to enjoy your cup of coffee, to read a book, to listen to music, to do a bit of yoga, whatever it is that you know is going to make you feel good for the rest of the day. So the third one that I've got for you is to buy yourself flowers and gifts. When was the last time that you bought yourself a gift? I don't mean that you bought yourself an outfit because you were going somewhere, or you bought yourself some new makeup because it run out, or you bought yourself something that you needed. When was the last time that you bought yourself something that you just really wanted, that you would normally think of as like a Father Christmas present? I nearly said a Father Christmas. Let's go with it. A Father Christmas present. But just things like buying yourself flowers. I went and did my food shop, and I walked to the supermarket, which is not far. It's only like half a mile away. I walked to the supermarket. Just the walk was romanticising my life. Just walking home, it was sunshine. It was like evening. It was nice and quiet. And I walked home and I bought myself a bunch of flowers, and I felt so fucking fancy. And these flowers were like £3 in Aldi. And I got home and I put my shopping away, and then I arranged my flowers. Again, it was lovely. It was like a little romantic moment in my life. You don't have to wait for somebody else to buy you a gift. You are worthy of buying yourself gifts. And by doing that, don't look at it as like, oh, that's a waste. It's not. It's sending out the message, this is what I'm worthy of. This is what I desire. This is what's normal for me. And that will bring in people who are going to treat you in that way, which is always a good thing. So number 4 is to talk to strangers. So before I said romance is a feeling of connection. If you are talking to strangers, you're making connection. I don't mean like creepy strangers, don't talk to random men in the street in the middle of the night. I'm generalising slightly there, but I'm talking about when you stood in a queue. Everybody, if you look in a queue, next time you're in a queue, look at everybody in that queue. They're all staring at the phone. Everybody's looking down, and I'm guilty of this as well. We all do it. We can't make eye contact with people half the time. We feel awkward talking to people. Everybody shops online. Nobody even rings up anymore. Everybody texts each other. It's It's disconnected, and it's not normal for us as humans to be so disconnected from people. So talking to strangers, giving them a compliment, telling them that you like the dress, telling them that you like the outfit, telling them that they've got a lovely smile, mentioning how kind you've just noticed that they were to somebody else. Make a connection with people. Just have a chat with them in the queue while you're waiting. You'll never see that person again, most likely. But you don't know how much of an impact that could have on people. There are people that go days, maybe weeks without speaking to anyone. And you could have a massive difference. And not only that, you will get that back for yourself as well. It'll also push you out of your comfort zone, which is something that I'm always encouraging you to do all the time. Go and talk to somebody. Just say one little thing to them, and you'll feel, I bet you any money, you'll feel that like a little bit of heart racing, like a bit of awkwardness. That's a good sign. That means you're going outside of your comfort zone. But you're doing so much for other people and for yourself, though, when you talk to a stranger. So number 5, and I very rarely do this, and I keep thinking I must do this. In fact, I've just bought a new chair for my table so I can do it. Eat at the table. I was raised in a home where we eat at the table. Nobody eats on the knee. Nobody eats in front of the telly, although they've got a bit lax. They do keep putting the telly on in the background. But we sit down together as a family, and every time I go around to my mum and dad's, we eat at the table. I would never dream of getting a plate of food off my mum and going taking it into the living room. She'd hit the fucking roof because she'd be terrified of me dropping it on the carpet. But sitting at the table, even if you're on your own, is doing something that's good for you. It's doing something that's romanticising your life. It's making you a priority. It's saying, I'm taking the time now to sit down and be present and enjoy this food. Set the table nicely. Light a fucking candle. Go mad. So sitting at the table while you eat, it'll also make you more mindful about what you're eating, but it'll make you feel fancy, like you're in a romantic movie. So number 6, which is a bit of a random one, but bear with me, is lighting. You never see people in a romantic film sat with the big lights on, do you? Some of them that are so romantic you can barely see the fucking face. It's important that you create a space in your home where you feel cozy and you feel romantic, and lighting is one of the best, easiest, most efficient ways that you can do that. If you're sitting in a room now listening to me and you're looking around and all you've got is the big lights or the wall lights, and you don't have any lamps, you don't have any candles, you don't have any fairy lights, go and get some, because you will feel completely fucking different to the version of you now when you sit in this nice, cozy, like lamp-lit room. So go and get some lamps and turn your big fucking light off. Number 7 is to take yourself out on a date. Now, this one really pushes people out of the comfort zone. That doesn't mean that you have to go to like a fancy restaurant and sit down and eat a full 3-course meal. By all means, if you can do that, please do. And if you already do that, I really admire you, because this is something that I still struggle with. But there are other ways to take yourself on a date. For example, most Saturdays, I will go up to Rivy Barn, which is somewhere near where I live, like a little cafe, and I will walk through the woods. I'll have a nice little walk. I'll take a book in my handbag, and then I will sit and I will have a cup of coffee, a sparkling water, usually this absolutely banging cheese toasty that they do, and then I'll have a carrot cake, and I'll sit there for like, I don't know, an hour and a half and just read my book on my own. And it is such a fucking vibe. I am not joking you. And there was a point, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have even seen it on my stories. I think it's on one of my highlights. But there was a time where I was shitting myself about going, even having a cup of coffee on my own, and I had to psych myself up to do that. But now it's become such a normal part of my life, and I really, really look forward to it. And I don't think, I wish somebody would take me out on a date, because I'll just take my fucking self. Like, I don't need anybody to take me on a date. But when I do meet someone, I've already kind of set the standard of like, this is how I expect you to treat me. So You could do that. You could take yourself on a picnic. That's another thing. If you feel a little bit awkward sitting in a restaurant or in a cafe or in a coffee shop with loads of other people around, make yourself like a really nice picnic. Like, don't go to Tesco petrol station and go and get a meal deal. Make yourself a nice little picnic in one of those fancy boxes that you can get off TikTok Shop, because I am a whore for TikTok Shop. I'm getting a new delivery every day at the minute. And make yourself a little fake charcuterie board in a Tupperware, and take it and go and sit somewhere quiet in a park on a nice day, and take your book or take your earphones, whatever it is, and just go and enjoy your own company. You don't have to do everything with other people. And when you realise that, you will feel so free that you don't have to wait for your friends or your partner or whoever it is to say, shall we go and do this? Like, suddenly you've just got all this freedom to go and do it on your own. So take yourself out on a date. Number 8 is to dress up like you're about to bump into your worst ex and his new girlfriend. Are you wearing an outfit that makes you feel beautiful every day? I'm guilty of this. I don't always do this. I need to listen to my own advice. Sometimes I look like a trog. The amount of times that I have gone in Aldi and I have seen the love of my life, or in any supermarket. I sound like I'm doing brand deals today. I don't know. I've mentioned Aldi, I've mentioned Rivy Barn, I've mentioned Tesco, TikTok Shop. I might start asking for sponsors. But the amount of times that I have gone to Aldi and seen the potential love of my life and thought, he is so fit, but I've looked like a trog, and I would never in a million years dream of going over to them because I don't feel confident in what I'm wearing and how I look that day. So dress up every single day and wear the nice clothes. You don't need to save anything for a special occasion. Think of it like an actor. Every actor has got a costume, and you need to find the costumes that your vision version wears and start dressing as her now. So number 9 is to use your best shit. Use the self-care products instead of regifting them. I bet you any money you have got some nice, fancy, like, body care stuff that somebody's bought you and you thought, oh, that's really nice. I'll give that to somebody else. What do you think that's putting out there? That's saying, I'm not worthy of having this because it's too nice for me. Is that what you want to bring in? Because if not, you need to start using it. They were bought for you, or at least regifted to you, and it's your time to use them. Wear the designer handbag that you've still got in the back of a wardrobe in a cloth case because you're too terrified of using it because you feel like it's for somebody who's better than you. Drink from the posh cups that you save for your guests. Drink your Vimto from a cocktail glass in the cupboard. I like a good glass of milk, and I drink it out of one of those champagne glasses, you know, little, like those wide ones. I've got some little, like, sort of holography almost. They sound very tacky, but they're nice. Like, glasses. And I put my other glasses away and I was like, what the fuck am I saving these for? How many times do I have a party where I use these 6 fancy champagne glasses? I barely drink champagne. Very rarely do I drink a glass of champagne. So now, when I'm sitting in front of the telly at night or reading my book or whatever I'm doing, I drink my glass of milk out of my champagne glass. So start using the stuff that you've got that you are keeping for best. Treat yourself like you are special, because you are special. And finally, number 10, and I did an episode on this not so long ago, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. You are the most important person in your life. And spending and investing are very different things. When you spend money, you lose some of the value of that money because it's gone, it's been spent. When you invest in yourself, you grow the value of that money. Yes, you have to exchange it, but you're not losing it. It's an exchange, it's not a loss. You're actually growing that value. So you can invest in yourself by doing things like incrementally upgrading your spaces. If you're walking around your house and looking at something you think it's fucking horrible, like it pisses me off, change it, upgrade it. If you are thinking, right, I really want to work on my self-development, go and book a session of coaching. You can move through your blocks for an exchange of money. Book a massage if you want a massage. If you think that's something that the woman in your vision would do, go and do it. Go and have your nails done if you know that it's going to make you feel nicer and fancier and more like her. So you could go and get a new skill, for example. It could be going to events like the one that I've just been to. It could be getting a personal trainer instead of just going to the gym and sort of flapping about like you don't really know what the fuck you're doing. Have a few sessions with a personal trainer. It could even be buying nicer food. Like instead of getting cheap shit crap, just get nicer food. It doesn't have to be your whole shop. It could just be that you upgrade some of the veg that you buy to nice organic veg in a different supermarket, whatever it is. But when you invest in yourself, you grow that value of you. You're not losing anything. And out of everything that I have done, investing in myself has been without doubt the single biggest factor to my rapid growth over the past 6 months. It's what allowed me to shift my circumstances incredibly quickly. Because when you invest in yourself, you're saying, I am worthy of the life that I desire, and I am ready to put more into myself, and I'm open to receive more back. So they are my 10 practical tips on how to romanticize your life. And I really hope that from this message that I've shared with you in this episode, that from regardless of your current 3D circumstances, that you'll start to see every single day is a gift, and that you'll treat it as special as it is. It is a special occasion. Don't wait for your manifestation to arrive in the physical before you live your life as the main character that you are. Doing that, living your life as the main character and romanticizing everything that you've already got and doing all the things that she does that you can do right now is what is going to allow you to receive it. So don't keep creating in the 3D. Life is happening right now, and we've got to enjoy it right now. So I hope you found this episode useful. Like I said, if you want more of these, you can go back and listen to episode 35. I actually think that's my favourite ever episode that I recorded, number 35. I really enjoyed it. I don't know what it is, but I just really like talking about this subject. But before I go, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the 10 practical tips without going into detail, just as a recap. Number 1, music. Number 2, start your morning slowly. Number 3, buy yourself flowers or gifts. Number 4, talk to strangers. Number 5, eat at the table. Number 6, lighting. Number 7, take yourself on a date. Number 8, dress up. Number 9, use your best shit. And number 10, probably the most important one, invest in yourself. If you have found this episode useful, I would be eternally grateful if you could leave me a review. The new draw has begun now, and I don't think I've had any reviews for about 2 or 3 weeks now. So if you could leave me one, it would mean the world to me. I'd be super grateful, and I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful week, you main character bitches. Bye.